The manager of the Boston Red Sox, Alex Cora, joins us. Hey, Alex, how are you?
I'm doing good, doing good.
Interesting spring so far. It feels like the buzz is back. Would you echo that?
100%, 100%. We played the Rays 2 days ago, I want to say.
Yep.
And it felt like when I played here in '08, '07, spring training, well, I mean, not as much,
Right.
but a lot different than the last 3 years. And the reason we have a good baseball team, the front office and ownership, we talk a little bit right before the end of the season how we needed to execute, we needed to be better. We bring Chapman, Wilson, then Garrett, and Walker, and then at the end we got Alex. And I think the addition of Alex at the end, kind of like gave us that, like I was talking to Aaron Boone yesterday, and he wasn't too happy that Alex ended up signing with us. Honestly, I thought Alex was going to end up somewhere else, and I got the big news late that night on Wednesday, and here we are. We got a good baseball team.
How many conversations did you have during the offseason prior to Bregman's arrival with Devers about the potential, and how long between the news of Bregman being signed and you talking to Rafi, was that something that was ongoing, or was it something you sort of started to talk about when you guys arrived at camp?
More realistic when it became more realistic. And at the time when I talked to him, I got here early, he was here, and when we talked, I felt like we were far off. There were two big rumors out there, Nolan and Alex, and the Nolan was more of a rumor than reality. The Alex thing was real, but at that time, knowing Alex and listening to Scott and Bress and all that, I was like, this is not going to happen. The way they were talking the whole off season, it was about years, and that's what we need. And I have a good relationship with him. At one point, I was like, hey, man, you got to do what you got to do for the Bregmans. That's the most important thing. This is a business. I get it. But you pull the players. I was a player once, and it's a player-driven business. And honestly, I was like, hey, this is real, but I don't think it's going to happen. And then a week later, everything changed. So, we've been talking about it the last 10 or 12 days. Obviously, he had the press conference and he said that he's not going to play another position other than third base. I respect that, but I think at the end what we're going to do is take the best 26 guys, align the best players in their positions, and try to win a championship. And that's what we're trying to accomplish.
Well, Alex, that's the good thing about having good positive buzz. You run into a situation like this where it's not like other sports. Having depth is great.
I love the way you said it. Situation is not a problem.
Yes.
Some people are saying it's a problem. No, it's a situation.
Right. And so, but you as the manager still have to make the right decision on what's best for the team. You have two guys that want to play one position. One guy, is arguably a better fielder in Bregman, and the other guy's still working, and it seems like he does not want to move off that position. How are you going to kind of rectify that situation, and do you feel like you're leaning more towards Bregman there to start the season or more towards Devers and putting Bregman somewhere else?
No, I think, well, with Alex, he'll play anywhere.
Right.
He's been very honest. He hasn't played second in a while, but I truly believe that he's a good second baseman. I don't know if you saw some videos the other day, him turning a little play. It's simple with him. He's a good defender, good footwork, good hands, good baseball IQ. So he can play short, he can play second. Last year, he offered to play first base with Houston. The thing here is, there's other stuff going on here. It's not third base, it's not DH, it's second base too, right? And there's some guys in that clubhouse that they're fighting for a spot. You got Hamilton, you got Grissom, you got Campbell. You got guys that have a shot to make this team. And from there, we will make decisions. Right now we got Willie that is not ready to join us yet because he's been ill. So is he going to be part of the starting roster, opening day roster? So there's a lot of decisions that comes with it. You've seen the big boy taking ground balls at third. He's going to actually join the group on Friday. We're shooting for him to play next week. So I think it's early to decide, who's going to be where because of the other part of it. And whenever we have to make decisions, we will. But one thing for sure, It's going to be an exciting team. It's going to be a good one. We have to be better defensively. Offensively, I think we are on point right now. I mean, those three guys on top of the lineup, bringing Alex is different at bat. You know, he's going to work the count. He's going to swing. He's going to pull the ball. We know that, but he's not going to chase pitches. And you're going to let Jaron and Rafi do their thing, right? Be as aggressive as possible. So going back to the question, decisions will be made in a few weeks. And, you know, there's going to be people upset. There's going to be people that are going to be sent down, and they're going to be upset at the manager and Craig. But that's the good thing about having good players. You know, 3 years ago, we didn't have this conversation. It was like, okay, cool. Let's try to win 84 games.
Right.
Now we're talking about the division. You know, you see the projections and all that, and it's exciting. You know, it feels kind of like 18 as far as like the roster, right? We're not 18. You know, don't get me wrong, we're not. You know, that was probably one of the best teams in the history of the Red Sox, but we have a good baseball team.
Alex, we've obviously talked about this quite a bit when it comes to Bregman and Devers, and is there going to be a rift in the clubhouse, and will guys split onto who they feel like should take that third base position? But as the manager, do you have to consider what will be less rocky for the boat? Do you have to take into consideration that, you know, back in November, Bregman was saying, I'm fine playing second, I'd be happy to, and then last week saying, whatever AC wants me to do, I'm going to do. Do you take that into consideration, or are you really just going to go with your gut on who's going to be best there?
No, I mean, as far as the clubhouse, I'm not worried.
Mm-hmm.
They're grown men, and we have adults in the room now. We do. And you see the way they talk. Actually, Alex is working with Rafi at third base. You know, the first thing he did was telling him about one pointer, about glove presentation, all that. And Rafi, he got it right away. So you guys, I mean, I don't know if he's going to talk to you guys, whatever, but you have to be around him to understand what he brings to the equation. A lot of people talk about Pedroia, very similar, but not as loud, you know. But this guy, he's a baseball rat, you know. His baseball IQ is up there. He's going to challenge everybody in this room, you know, from the front office to the analysts to Alex to the coaches. Everybody's been challenged, and he's such a great teammate. Say playoffs in a row, right? That doesn't happen because you're just good. You know, there's more into the equation, and he's taking care of the clubhouse. That same day that Rafi had his press conference, I had 20 players in my house for a barbecue. Rafi was part of it, and he was hanging out with everybody, so we should be okay. We should be okay.
Just on the clubhouse and adults, I hear Triston Casas' remarks, and they just struck me as so off. Like, here's a guy who like built a house in Worcester when you guys were fighting for a playoff spot, and now he's saying that he's dictating who's on the roster. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like part of the reason you were so interested in the acquisition of Alex Bregman is because of what he means in terms of a winning culture to a locker room that's still growing. And is that part of the reason that, you know, you bring this guy in? To me, I said it was like Rodney Harrison. When Rodney Harrison joined the Patriots, they were a good team, but he had this way of getting under people's skin and forcing players to do things they weren't doing before.
So throughout the years here, right, since I got here in 18, we have brought some great guys, right, guys that had changed the culture of the clubhouse. J.D. Martinez, Justin Turner, right?
Yep.
DH players. There were DHs, right? So there's not much that they can contribute. Yeah, they're good baseball guys. They understand defense and base running, but they don't do it every day, right? Like, they were great at talking about hitting, helping the guys out. But when you have a guy like this that, first of all, 2 World Series ring, of course, you know, being in the playoffs for 8 years in a row. This started in LSU, too. Like, this kid has been a winner all his career. But understanding what it takes defensively, base running wise, offensively, he knows analytics, he knows old school baseball. I truly believe we needed somebody like that, you know. And is he the perfect guy? Probably, to be honest with you. Just being around 17 and talking to him and understanding, you know, what kind of like gets him going. It caught my attention. Obviously, everything came out, right? And the one thing that I'm proud of him, and we're not proud of what happened in 17, but him specifically, he turned the page and he made sure that the Astros were still going to be good, right? because at that time it was loud, it was hard going on the road. Dusty got there to help out, but this kid, he made sure, you know what, we're going to prove the world that, yeah, we messed up in 17, but we are a good baseball team, and he did it. Altuve is great, Alvarez is amazing, but that guy in that clubhouse, I know what he meant to them, and I'm happy that he's here.
Mentally probably made him stronger, too.
100%. Like, he's ready for this. And I tell him, be careful to fall into the trap that you have to do everything. At the end of the day, we're paying you all that money to do your thing. Play good defense, be a good offensive player, be a good base runner. But the other thing, is great. But I lived through it with Jason Worth in 2011. Kind of like he went to Washington, and Mike Rizzo, the GM, kind of like told him, hey, you have to lead these guys. You got to help them out. And Jason took it by heart. He changed the nutrition, he brought his cook, all that stuff, and then he forgot that he needed to play right field for the Washington Nationals. And he struggled for a while. This kid, he understands that I got a job to do, and he uses whatever to get him going, right? The number 2, we all know, he was the second pick of the draft. He wanted to be number 1, so that's why he wears number 2. Everybody thought that this kid was going to get 10 years in the market, right, and $200 million. He did not. I think that's going to help him to keep going, and it's going to be fun.
Well, one of the things, Alex, as I listen, I hear you talking, it's always great to have great players that take the message and then incorporate it into the locker room, the clubhouse. I know for me as a former player, but the biggest message comes from the head coach, the manager, and you having to be able to manage different egos, different personalities, different ways guys react to maybe getting sent down or not playing or feeling like, wait a second, I did better than that guy in spring training. Why am I not? How are you taking the approach this year, knowing that these are some of the questions that you're going to have to answer where you have a lot more talent, but also getting the guys to buy in to your message that's being resonated through the clubhouse, through players?
So most of the guys in that clubhouse only know the last 3 years, right? 2 last place finishes and a good season, right? 81 and 81. There's a few guys that were part of 21. There's only one guy that was part of 18. And he's still an alpha dog in that clubhouse. He understands what it takes to win. And that's something I talked to Rafi, like we have conversations like yesterday. We talk about his schedule, when you're going to join the team, outside for ground balls and all that stuff, when you're going to play. We didn't talk about positions. I needed to make sure this guy is ready to play at Texas, right? Because that's my job, We're going to have other conversations in the upcoming weeks, But right now, my main goal is for Rafi to be ready to play, right? With Alex, it's kind of like, okay, make sure this kid understands what it means to prepare for a 162 plus and, help however you want. The first day we were in the clubhouse, in the CAF, we're having lunch. You see Marcelo, Roman, Chris Campbell, and Alex. They were there for an hour. And that's when you go home, you're like, okay, cool. We're good. But from my end, they know there's competition. You got to be very honest. We have the one-on-one meetings every morning now with the position players, go over their plans, and just let them know, hey, man, there's a shot to be the second baseman of the Boston Red Sox. There's competition. It's real competition. Be ready for that. Enjoy it. So far, so good. It's not going to be easy. We know that, over the course of spring training, over the course of the season, and hopefully in the playoffs, something is going to come up. But I made a decision halfway through the season to stay here for 3 more years. That's the reason I wanted to be here, because we got a chance to win. And you can see it now. It's a different vibe. It's a different type of preparation. Now it's about precision, be exact, be correct. It's not about the rah-rah, hey, we're going to the World Series, I don't want to say full. Sorry, I did say full. But to kind of like get everybody buy into it. Now it's like, okay, we have a good team. This is what we have to do.
Alex, so you and I and Ken spoke at the winter weekend at Fenway a couple months ago, and you told this awesome story about how before the season in 07, you sat down with Terry Francona and Theo Epstein, and they said, you're going to play in April. He hit 400 in April. So I said, I'm contractually obligated to bring that up.
Thank you.
And then Theo said that Pedroia's not going to be ready in April, but as of May, he's going to be the best hitting second baseman in baseball, and everything that Theo told you came to fruition. Yeah. Do you have those conversations now with Brez and the players, and is that the kind of conversation that you would have with Devers and Bregman, obviously separately, where you sit down and you just explain why you're doing what you're doing? They don't have to agree with it, but you present to them the evidence behind the decision.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we will talk about it. You know, what makes sense for our team to win 92-plus games over 162. The other ones, as far as like competition and all that, in my situation when I came in, I was like, okay, how many games am I going to play? And they told me, you're going to play a lot early on. I was like, yes. And then you're not going to play. I'm like, oh, that sucks. But we'll talk to some of the veterans as far as their roles, you know. Like right now, we got Triston at first, right, who's going to be the backup first baseman, you know, and we're pushing certain guys to learn the position, and they're going to play a lot in spring training. And probably a utility position is going to be based on who can actually play first base, you know. There's a lot of guys with options, and as you guys know, we can talk about, yeah, he's the best player, you know, he should be that guy, but at the same time, you have to play with the roster, you know, and then make adjustments early on, especially with the schedule that we have. But you know what? It's been fun. It's been good. The conversations are a lot different, like I said, than the last few years. Now it's about, hey, man, you do this, you're going to be fine. Just go out there and play. And the main thing, stay healthy, right? Right now, Bello, obviously, he's throwing a bullpen on Friday. Cutter is behind. We have a deeper pitching staff, but now it's not as deep as a month ago, right? And those are the things that come up in spring training, but we'll deal with it, and we're going to be okay.
The injuries were a big issue last year. How are you guys making sure that during spring training, maybe you guys are better equipped to handle if injuries, as they, of course, will come up throughout the season?
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing about spring training is what you did in the offseason. And the vast majority of the players did an amazing job, not only executing the plan, but communicating with the pitching staff, with pitching coach, with the hitting coaches, with the trainers. I think that's the most important thing. It's hard because, you know, like me as a Latino, you know, we would love our Latino players to be here in Fort Myers, you know, early in January. It's hard, you know, like, I mean, this is my culture. This is my country, you know. I love to be around my people, right? Like, Bello, with time, probably he will be here earlier, but we got the academy in the Dominican. We can actually help him out. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's easier for the guys that live up north, you know, and okay, I'll go to Fort Myers, you know. It's easier for the guys in Arizona because most of the players kind of like live there, right? And they have the facilities. But I think we did a good job. We changed a few things in camp as far as like the innings they play. It used to be 1 at-bat, 2 at-bats, 3 at-bats. Now they're playing 5. Sports science, they look at it. They went to my office. Hey, Alex, they're playing 5. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, I'm not gonna get into it. You know, like Tito used to say, like, I know baseball. I don't know that part. You know,
right.
So just hopefully we can keep him healthy. Trevor, for example, he didn't play much last year. Volume is important, but at the same time, the most important thing for us is for Trevor to be opening at shortstop for us in Texas. So it's a balance, but a good one to have, and we have a lot of good players. There's a lot of competition right now at second base. It's hard for me to, like, okay, how are we going to do this? You know, we got Hammy, Grissom, we got Sogar, we got Campbell. How are we going to be able to get enough innings to have a really good idea who should be our second baseman? You know, so Alex too, you know, it's kind of like, okay, we have 27 games, spring training shorter too this year. We're going to Mexico. So it's hard, but we'll deal with it.
And we'll wrap on this. It felt to me like the signing of Bregman, removing your personal relationship, was John Henry keeping his word, that you signed a 3-year extension, that it felt like to people that either cover the team or follow the team, that you signed because it was a leap of faith, that you felt the young guys were coming close enough, and that the organization was prepared to invest in the actual big league club. Would that be fair to say to you?
Yeah, those 5 days around the All-Star break, they were very honest. It happened fast, but they kind of like present me with everything that, you know, is going to happen the way they see it, and they felt like I was the right leader for it, you know. The commitment, yeah, it's 3 years, you know, and that's the personal side of it, right? The boys are growing, and this is a tough job. If you look around leagues, and when you spend a lot of time in 1 year in one place, it takes a toll on you, right? Like, we don't want to get old too soon, right? I'm 49. I'm still enjoying life. Still love my kids, the way playing games, all that stuff. There's other ways now to see them, right? FaceTime and Facebook Live, all that stuff, so I can see them, but it's different, right? So I think 3 years is good. We'll see what happens in the future, but right now, man, I'm having a blast. I'm excited about the direction we have in. It's not more about talking about the future and all that. It's talking about the now, which is very important, and we're ready to go.
Thank you for your time, Alex. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.